Hey guys, MD Prepper here. Another cold weather camping preparedness cooking review, if you will. This time on the Sterno Folding camp stove, or the folding stove. I don't know if it's technically called the camp stove. Got this, I believe it was last Christmas. Yeah, it was. At local Sports Authority. Got it on sale. Just the little folding stove. They had it on special, liquidating it for, I think I got it for $3.50 to $4. I'd seen them for $8 to $10. I'd also seen these in your disaster preparedness kits that Sterno made. That may not be the name of them, but it was a big box that had this in it, a few Sterno cans, some longer lasting 60-hour candles and 10, 20-hour candles, that sort of thing. Those things were $30-40. They were probably a good price at the time, but I didn't have the cash at the time. Now I do. Saw this about a year ago for, I say, $3-4 and decided, what the heck, I already stocked Sterno cans, so why not pick one up? So anyway, this little thing is designed as a little stovetop type grill, if you will. Put a pot on here, percolator, frying pan, anything like that. Any camping gear will work just fine on the top of this thing to boil water, cook food, fry bacon, just whatever you want to do. Very practical, very small, very lightweight. I don't like this as much as my little folding camp stove that I've got another review of that hasn't gotten a whole lot of attention. That one will take Sterno cans in it if you maneuver them right. It'll take wood, it'll take trioxane fuel, all that sort of stuff. That thing is about $15, maybe it's 12, can't remember. Anyway, this has its options. Good for Sterno cans and some other stuff I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Now, basic aluminum sides, very thin. Not going to take a heck of a lot of abuse, but you're not going to keep it like this and carry it around. You're going to fold this thing up. But even then, I'd try to protect this. Put this at the top of my pack just so I don't actually sit on it or lean on it and warp or bend this thing. You know, this thing's going to work, but just don't beat it up too much, guys. So your front of it obviously says Sterno. Open it. Here is going to get you access to your Sterno can. So, ooh, Sterno can, like you've never seen one of these before. I think the standard Sterno can is going to last for, was it 2 hours, a little over 2.25 hours, something like that. That's not bad for general purpose in the woods camping, but I think I got a better idea than this Sterno can. Now, Sterno cans are generally available just about anywhere. Walmart, Target, you can get them in 2 packs for, what is it, $6, I think? Last time I checked, so not bad. But 2.25 hours, I think I can do better than that, but these are fine. Now, this thing's got the little hook apparatus here on the inside. Don't know if you can see those two little hooks. They got an angle on them up, and a little lip here on the back. If you can see that, we'll cut out. That's an angle. Hard to see there with the camera angle. But that's to hold the can securely so it doesn't slip around. You slip this in here. You can play around a little bit, but it's going to stay fairly well centered to give a good central heat to your fire. So, I don't know how I can see those hooks there, a little angle there in the back side. Let's see if I can angle that up. You can see the back side of the Sterno can there. So, it's just there to hold things. It's not absolutely necessary. Now, if you're going to use this thing, you don't need to put this on top of anything flammable, a tablecloth or anything like this, or a shemagh or anything like that. But I'd probably take this thing outside if I was going to use it, or put it on the tiles in front of my stove or in front of my fireplace, something like that, if I was going to use this indoors. And I got big vaulted ceilings, so I'm not really worried about carbon monoxide or anything like that. I got plenty of room and airspace where I live. So anyway, I'd try to probably put as big of a pot or pan on top of this as I could, because I don't want to lose any extra heat. So of course your air supply is going to come in for the bottom little intake there at the bottom. Doesn't come all the way down, just so it can draw some air up and feed the fire. Not much to say there, but what I would say about the Sterno fuel, it's fine. I don't have any problem with Sterno. I've been using it for years, works well. Everybody likes a decent Sterno fuel can. What I've used to better success and cheaper and longer lasting, chaffing fuel. Now, chaffing fuel is the stuff you've seen if you've been to a buffet, somewhere like that. Maybe some kind of catered type event where the food's already been pre-cooked. and it's sitting in those big metal trays you see with the little burners underneath them. These are those little burners. They're called chafing fuels. Now I'm probably going to do another review on chafing fuel in and of itself for all its properties and benefits and all that. Very cheap. I think a can of this cost me about 50 cents. This one I think was $2.50 to $3. This one is 2.5 hours. This one is 6 hours. They make 2.5 hour ones and all that, but 6 hours compared to 2.5. Now this was a little heavier, got more fluid in it and all that, but relatively, if you see them there, the same size overall. A little higher here on the cap and all. What's interesting about this, the cap's a lot easier to get off on the chafing fuels. The Sterno fuel is more like a paint can, if you will. You got to pry that bad boy up. This has a twist off cap, which I'm not going to get into, but I'll probably do a review on these later. But the good thing about the chafing fuels, they're going to fit just fine once they get it in there. Same dimensions. It's actually going to have a little less play, I think, slightly. Once this thing, excuse me, there we go. Once this thing is put in place, you got 6.5 hours of fuel per little can for much cheaper. I buy these by the pallet at Sam's Club, the chafing fuels. The 6.5 hours or 6 hour ones are kind of hard to find. These days they were readily available like a year ago when I bought several pallets of these. I think it was 12 per pallet, maybe it was 16 for less than $1 a piece. You can find 2 hour chafing fuels and 2.5 hour chafing fuels, which are probably equivalent to the Sterno. Again, 50 to 75 cents a piece, so better than the $2.50 to $3 that I found for my local Sternos. Gonna do the job just fine. You twist off the top, you light it up, you're good to go. Now you say chafing fuel is designed for keeping food warm. Okay, yeah it is. But in this type of setup, where you're reflecting the heat upwards, basically, you can cook with it just as well as anything. I think that's just as good of an option, if not better. Now, this little stove, let me show you how this folds up. Now I'm trying to do this in reverse, so I may screw it up. Let me flip it upside down. There you go. Folds that way, if memory serves. Fold it down, fold it down, fold it across. Yep, got it right the first time, I think. It's going to fold down about like that. I don't know how thick that is. I haven't actually measured it. That's pretty thin. Again, I would not put this deep in my pack where I'm going to lean against it, sit down on it, that sort of stuff. I would put this higher up, somewhere fairly secure. And as opposed to letting this thing flop about, I'd probably put some rubber bands on it, some cordage, something like that, just to keep it tight, just to keep extra damage from happening. Get the little starburst pattern on both of the little sides there. I don't know quite what that's about, but guess it's just for decor. Anyway, Sterno Folding stove there. There may be a better way to fold this thing, but I don't know what it is. I threw away the cardboard box there just because I didn't think I was going to use it. This is probably going to be more for home use if I have a blackout, that sort of thing. And if my butane stove eyelet lets out. Got a video on that one. But Sterno and chafing fuels. Great stuff. I think chafing fuel's better overall. Probably going to do a review on that here soon. Anyway, Sterno Folding Stove. Great for $4 or $5 if you can find it. I'd pay more for it if I had to. But you got to have these canisters to make it work. Decent prepping option. MD Prepper out.